Okay, I am at 8428 Springwater Court doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues or root intrusion, anything that may be of concern to the buyer. We're going in through the rearmost stack here. It's coming down right below the kitchen basically, so it is probably going to be a little nasty just because the kitchen lines are usually like that. Kitchen lines usually have a pretty big buildup of grease and food particles. It's pretty normal to find that kind of stuff in the sink line. So it's usually it's usually the nastiest line in the house. And so I've already tried to push that stuff in there, and now we're just going to try to see if I can clean off. Okay, there we go. So this should be, based off the age of the house, it should be PVC all the way out. Yeah, you can see there from all the splashes, there's a trail right through it. You can see, once we get out into the main line, all this should dissipate a lot, because this line is also getting not just the grease from there, but it's also got the washer tied into it, and a lot of, if anybody's ever dealt with it for their washer, fabric softener also has a lot of oils in it and stuff that build up like grease. You know, it's not obstructing flow or causing any problems, but it just builds up, and so just doesn't look very good. And so what we're hoping to do is, either way, we'll get out going through all this, and as you push out, you know, you're pushing stuff up against the camera lens, and so hoping we can get all the way out, and then when we get back, it's a pretty hefty belly. You can see the top of the line. I don't see any settling as far as solids in there, but this looks like there's a pretty large, deep belly in this line, and we're getting ready to come out of it. It's probably right at the foundation based off the footage. So I'm going to continue to push out. Yeah, you can see we've just exited the house here, and this is where it goes to the outside. The SDR 35 goes into a 6-inch SDR 35. So this would be all the exterior pipe. So we'll take a lot better look at this on the way back, and then when I go through it, I'm going to when I come back, I'm also going to mark the beginning and the end of that belly. Bellies are a strange thing because they can function properly for a long time. They don't necessarily, if they're not holding a bunch of solids, then, you know, usually the water will overtake the belly, and it won't cause any obstructions. You can see solids are even making it through. Most things, as long as you don't flush things you're not supposed to, then a lot of times they don't really cause much of an issue as far as flow, unless they're very, very long. I mean, there are obviously, you know, traps in a lot of plumbing fixtures, so bellies aren't the end of the world. And chances are that belly has probably been there close to the time that the house has been up. Probably something that sunk after it was done, and then after the, let's see if I can get this going. There we go. They probably sunk shortly after the line was installed, when they backfilled, probably been there since. Doesn't mean it's good, because it looked like it was about the diameter of the pipe. It was a pretty heavy, it's pretty deep. The camera lens, I could see basically the top of it, and okay. And we've just made it into the main, it looks like. You can see there's some heavy, there's some water flowing through there, so we've made it all the way to the main at 100 feet. And the line looked great structurally, with the exception of that belly, and it's probably right there at the foundation based off of the footage and based off of the placement I noticed. And so we'll take a bit slower look on the way back, but again, this is something I would get a second opinion on that, as far as I would have a licensed plumber look at that belly and see what they think as far as if it's something that's going to cause consistent issues, or if it'll function properly as long as the line is used the way it's supposed to be, meaning you don't want to flush. The big thing that people put down these that could cause issues is wet wipes. They could very easily catch on stuff. PVC is a lot better than having like cast iron or something like that, where it can catch on stuff a lot more. Usually, if you don't see a bunch of buildup in the bottom of the belly, it'll overtake it, similar to a trap. If it's short like that, it'll as long as the downstream side is lower than the upstream side and the water can overtake it and continue flowing. Overall, bellies don't usually cause a major issue in PVC, but as long as they're not extended and holding solids, and I didn't see any solids. The rest of the line looks great though. Looks the way it should. Looks like everything's functioning. So what I'll try to do is, maybe we'll get up to this point and we'll run some water, make sure that it's escaping properly. But again, I'm going to recommend that a licensed plumber take a look at this and get their opinion on whether or not this needs to be repaired immediately, or if it's something that can be left alone. And as long as you don't flush wet wipes and stuff like that down there, it should be fine. Wet wipes, if you ever have a question on how well they work, or how strong they are, you can run them underneath the bathroom sink along with some toilet paper, and you can watch the difference between a piece of toilet paper breaking down the way it should, disintegrates in the water. Those wet wipes do not, and that's where a big issue is that they do not break down, and then they catch and stuff, and then that's where the problems arise. So here we are, it was like 42. So I'm trying to see about how long this belly is. And they actually used to put whole house traps in lines right at this point, basically, and there would be a big running trap. So the placement of this also kind of helps, because it looks like you're coming down out of the house. And as it drops, see here, as the line drops, so up here you're really high, and as long as the downstream side is lower than this point, which you know it is, it can overtake the belly. Should be able to take over the belly relatively easy, but here we are at 33. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to see if I can get a locate on where this is. I believe it's right at the foundation, so it might be kind of difficult to actually mark it, but we'll at least know, and I'll be able to at least describe that on the video. So I'm going to pause and get the exact location of this. Okay, so this is, like I thought, it's right at the foundation, right before it exits, and so yeah, it's probably settled. Again, like I said, I didn't see I don't see any solids resting in here, which is a good sign as far as, you know, creating a blockage. Before it gets into that, before it got into the belly, it starts pretty high, and so it does look like it's overtaking it pretty well. But we're trying to see like that right as it comes out, and that seems kind of weird that that's just a very, very small belly at the end of it, and so it does go slowly in, slowly out of it. You know, it's progressive. But I think at the worst, I don't hear any air being trapped, so it's not the full diameter of the pipe, so it's not 4 inches, but I believe it's dropped anywhere from 2 to 3 inches in that spot. And so I am going to recommend that you have a licensed plumber, you know, at least evaluate the video and see what they think as far as how deep it is and or how severe the belly itself is. I'm going to pause the video again here and go locate on the outside just to know about how far it is outside of the house. Alright, so it's about just a couple feet past the edge of the side, or edge of the front porch. So it's coming out, if you're facing the house, it's coming out just to the left of the front door, and it's about 10 feet, 10.4, and then the end of it here is a couple feet out in the just right there in the flower bed, and it is same thing. It's about 10, a little under 10 feet, I think, right there where it comes through. But it looks like, you know, it almost acts like a belly here, or I mean like a trap the way this is working. And they did used to have whole house traps on stuff, so chances are this has been there as long as there's no foundation issues and that the house hasn't sunk. I think they would probably find that as they do the whole house inspection, if that was the case. It seems like this may not have even been noticeable, that they've been said you can build up enough pressure on the top side, even if it did back up a little bit here, it should build up enough, you know, pressure on the other side to push stuff through. So the chances are it's been there since the house was built or shortly after, and then they didn't, and so the homeowner may not have even known about it. But again, I'm still going to recommend a second opinion from a licensed plumber to make sure that this is just get their opinion on the severity of that belly. You can tell as soon as we get back into the main sink line here, all the build up. I'm going to try to run some water since I'm sitting here. We'll try to run a little bit of water here in this stationary tub and just kind of Hey! What the hell? I know it ain't. I know it's coming in below that, but I think you just ran some water. Sorry. I think they ran a little bit of water in the kitchen sink for a second, not realizing. But I just wanted to see a little bit of water there. They may have heard me running it downstairs. I'm thinking it was okay. Wasn't much. It's just water. But yeah, the line is. The thing is that was it. It's only from about between 30 and. It's like 32 to 40 feet. There is that belly. Everything else looked wonderful. I didn't see any other major issues. The rest of the line actually looked about as good as it could. And so, again, you have that belly. Bad thing is, you know, as long as the house is continually settling, you would hope it wouldn't get any worse. And again, they could it could function like this for quite a while, but you never know. That's why I recommend that second opinion there from a licensed plumber to take a look and see what they think of the severity, because getting to this would also be a pretty major. Goes through the you know, past the foundation and underneath the front porch, out to the front walk. So it would be a pretty major undertaking to be able to get in there to repair it also. So if it's going to function free and clear, open and free flowing for the next, you know, 20 years, then I think it would be I don't know if it'd be worth it to try to dig that up and repair it at that point. It's a pretty big undertaking. So again, everything's great except for that 8-foot section. It's a belly, but it is starting high before that, and I think everything is overtaking it. But I am going to recommend a licensed plumber take a look at it and give their opinion on the severity. And I've said that for about 4 times now, and so that'll end the inspection at 8428 Springwater Court in White Oak, Ohio.